Good morning or afternoon. Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the coming week, and we are starting with June 20th. So let's get started. And I have a few things that I'm going to focus on, the main activities for the week to come. So let's get on with that. I'm going to share my screen with you, as I usually do, because I want you guys to learn. So over the next couple of days, because today is June 17th, but over the next few days, right now we have the moon in Virgo coming to be in an opposition with Neptune throughout the day. So we're trying to focus on the details, but that that Virgo Pisces opposition, we're going to oscillate back and forth between trusting our intuition and then focusing on the details. So do your best to integrate those two energies. Like an opposition is like a full moon in a way. So there's some awareness about a detail that we may have missed, things like that. If we go to, I don't have any other charts up, so let's just animate this to the next day. So from the 18th and the 19th, I really wanted to start with the 20th, but we'll just poke real quick at the 18th and the 19th. The moon enters the sign of Libra Friday morning, the 18th, early morning, like at 5 a.m. Eastern time. And throughout the weekend, we have the moon, actually just these 2 days, the moon's moving pretty quick. It is in the sign of Libra. So Friday and Saturday, the 18th and the 19th, there is a focus on balance or disharmony, relationships, and cooperation. So that's what we have when the moon is in the sign of Libra. There's quite a few other aspects going on throughout here, but I'm going to go on and move on to those right now. All right. So just know that Friday and Saturday, the 18th and the 19th, that relationship energy is nice and strong. And so work with it, even if, again, you can work through problems, or you can find a way to cooperate, find harmony, find balance, and all of the things that are important to you. The next chart we wanted to talk about, or aspect, if you will, is that actually Jupiter is retrograde now. At this point in time, you can see my latitude, longitude once again, and that is June 20th. It's at 11:06 a.m. Eastern time, so you will adjust for your time zone. The thing that is indicated in this one, of course, Jupiter stationary, we could feel a fair amount of confusion. Jupiter has been at that second degree of Pisces for a number of days now. Let's see, actually, how long has it been there? I should have looked this up ahead of time. Yeah, it's just a number of days. It's been at 2 degrees since the 10th of June, and will stay at 2 degrees and continue to retrograde, till the very end of the year. Yeah, he's been at 2 degrees. He'll be at 2 degrees for weeks, meaning that is not overly significant, but wherever you have 2 degrees of Pisces, that can be stirred up a bit. But now that it's retrograde, the expansion slows down, and then we start to look within. It is making, at this moment of its station, the moon is within 1 degree of a trine aspect. It's actually even closer than that. You can see the moon in Scorpio. So it adds to the water effect of this chart. The solstice chart, I'll talk about that in a moment. It's very watery too. But with moon trine Jupiter, at the time that Jupiter is stationary, it really does let us know that, we're going to need to be very aware of your energy and what it's feeling like, and how you may or may not be allowing other people to influence you. You're the only one responsible for how you feel. I mean, when we really get down to the root of our existence, it's our perspective. We are the ones in charge of how we feel, but we also have a lot of feelings, and so we do have to process those. This is the beginning of that. If you haven't already felt it, I know I have. There's a lot going on in my world right now. Lord, just because I can read this does not mean my life gets any easier than anybody else's, right? We all know that here. I'm going to make this chart look better. So moving on to the solstice. Now it's the summer solstice, northern hemisphere, winter solstice, southern hemisphere. The solstice chart, again, every solstice chart, there's 4 a year, 1 in each element. It is that seasonal shift. So planetary shift. Life goes on. Life continues to move forward. Now we have a lot of water in this chart. And again, from my location, this is where the sun happens to be at the moment it enters. It goes into Cancer the moment it hits that solstice point, right? And so that's 11:32 p.m. on June 20th in my location. It's going to be somewhere else in your location. Weather charts are created by solstice charts. Solstice charts can indicate the weather wherever you produce them, right? Within a few hundred miles of your location. So for us here within a couple hundred miles I'm on the seacoast of New Hampshire. There's a lot of water in this chart, so I suspect there will be a lot of rain, but it's also, the chart is also hot and dry. So we'll see. I think we're going to have an average summer, which is fine, not overly hot, but time will tell. I'm not an expert on weather astrology, but it's just fun to play with. But what else does this indicate here? So the sun, the solstice, the sun in Cancer, that's water. Venus, Cancer, water. Moon in Scorpio, water. Jupiter, Neptune, Pisces, water. Very heavy chart. That is very heavy in water. So that does tell us that there is a lot of emotion with the signature of this chart. Having the moon in Scorpio, deep emotion, deep sadness, deep wounds can come to the surface with this. And this is going to happen over the next few weeks. So you need to honor. It's just I've been reading the Tao that helps to understand, our emotions and how we're just part of that bigger picture, or whatever process that you appreciate and you love and you adore. Use that to get through the emotions and the old issues that come to the surface, because there will be a fair amount of that going on over the next few weeks. And it's important that we use this time over the next few weeks to get in alignment with how we're feeling. Is this a trigger? Is this something from my past? And how can I sit with this and really honor it? But then, finally for the last time or another time, just move past this layer of what's going on. And, the thing that's really popping up here, I'm going to show you in this chart here, is that Jupiter, it's not Jupiter, Saturn squaring Uranus. We already had that a few days ago, but over the next few weeks, right now, the moon makes the T-square, the fixed T-square. Over the next few weeks, and it'll be in July. And if you're part of my Patreon group, I will talk about this in the weekly forecast at tier 3. So come on over and join me there. But if not, no big deal either. Over here is where Mars and Venus will come in July and create a T-square from that angle. So what that means, I know that's a lot of astrology, so let me clarify. What that means is, with the solstice chart, we have the T-square that involves the moon. The solstice chart is our emotions and really connecting to our home, to our heart, to how we feel. The T-square between the moon, Saturn, Uranus is fixed, and it's like these deep wounds and emotions coming to the surface that we need to work on. When we get a little further, and it's like July 1st to July 8th is when Mars comes in and completes this T-square from a different direction, and Venus comes in too. And that will also, it could be rough. So we need to make sure that we're taking our time for us. What do we need? And getting ahead of things that seem to be a potential problem. Get ahead of it. It's important that you can do that and just be that way. We don't want to be that. I'm writing a forecast too. You can read this on my website. I'll have it up there in another day. I'm not finished it yet, but it's just my thoughts are coming out. It's like We can pitch our fits and we can have our moments of explosions and emotions coming out, and that's perfectly fine because we have to honor those and they will come out. But it's better if we can see what it is. It's unlike you can pitch a fit in the grocery store if you want, but we tend to reserve that for little 2-year-olds. But if you want to do that, you can, but I don't want to do that. That would be embarrassing to me. But if you need to have an emotional response, it's, do it. But then figure out what healing you need, or what do you need to move you past that. And again, if you need more details, let me know, because that's my profession. I am here to put this stuff up around your chart and to help you with it. All right. That's my job. And I love it. Now we have Venus trine Neptune on the 21st, right? Just, it's kind of like all of this is happening like so tight up into where the solstice is. I mean, the sun is still at 0 Cancer right here. This is just where the sun happens to be at 9:57 a.m. on June 21st in my location. This transit that I want to talk about here is Venus trine Neptune. Look at grand trine. Even this moon in Scorpio is involved in this. This is big. This is beautiful. Again, more deep emotions. Like everything I've just said, this amplifies it even more. Because again, if you go back to the solstice chart, it's just a few hours before Venus and Neptune are already in aspect with each other. It's just not exact. Applying aspects is when we're feeling it coming, whether you know it or not. Okay, so then there's that. Now, here's the Mercury retrograde when it goes stationary, and that is on June 22nd at 6 p.m. Eastern time. What does it tell me here? Yeah, it's exactly 6 p.m. Usually it's nothing's that exact. I almost didn't trust myself. Oh, you know what? Let me back up just a little bit with the Venus, Neptune trine with the moon, grand trine and water. I wrote all these notes, and I rarely read off my notes. I just kind of ad lib. Again, also, besides our emotional thing, you can use this for creative endeavors. Really connecting, to that creative piece that you have within you, whatever that is. Very artistic, very creative, very flowy, very compassionate, very understanding. So pay attention to that if you're the creative type. Moving to Mercury stationary direct, again, back to that. June 22nd, 6 p.m. Here it is. This is what it looks like for my latitude and longitude. Now, go back to May 15th. That's when Mercury was at 16 degrees before the station. So May 15th could indicate something, could begin. You can look at that and see how this will play out. Mercury right now at this recording even is still at 16. It stays at 16 degrees for nearly a week. That's a long time. But this is when it's going to turn around. So if you've been having over these last few weeks, especially because of the slow movement, the slow retrograde of this planet only went 8 degrees retrograde. And it can go 12 to 16 degrees in a retrograde. Maybe not 16, but a good 12. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Anyways, that's not a detail that matters to me right now. I will look it up later because I'm curious. But the point is like when it's stationary on this day, when that planet doesn't move, that to me is when we have the biggest snafus, especially if, just take your time on this day, on a day or two on either side of it. Just allow things to be slow, take their time. If you're in a hurry, don't be. Just like, and relax and zen and be in the moment. You're gonna really be thankful for that. Don't go anywhere where you need to be in a hurry. It's just so important to pay attention to this station. And a lot of information, with it been retrograde, with everything in Gemini over these last few weeks, and that Mercury retrograde and the eclipse and just all of it. Again, information overload if you watch news, too much information. And if you don't watch news, but you're still getting too much information and processing too many things, it gets overwhelming. And that's where all those emotions start to come up. And it's like a domino effect. So we have an opportunity now with Mercury stationing just to, take a break, take a nap, allow things to go a little bit smooth. If it feels kind of rough and edgy, then, just take a deeper breath and allow yourself to just get into the moment, and that will help calm down situations. All right, next we have the sun making its trine aspect to Jupiter. So this is a beautiful water trine as well, and lovely, easy, generous, self-indulgent. Jupiter, yes, is retrograde, but that's okay. Look for where these are in your own chart for more details. And then the final thing that I wanted to talk about today is that Venus is opposite Pluto on this day, on Wednesday, the 23rd. And when we have that can create, and Venus in Cancer can be very emotional and very sensitive. It is in a water sign. When it's moving through this sign in the sky, we are incredibly focused on our emotions, our family, our roots, how we are comforting ourselves. Those are very important. When it's opposite Pluto, it will be just a couple of days. We'll only feel it for a couple of days because Venus is moving fast enough that we could feel like we have no control or no power in regards to Venus things, which is, again, in Cancer, family. Even Venus is money, right? So are we spending more money on doing things at home? Maybe you finally decided, and a lot of people buying houses these days, but maybe you decide to put in a pool, or maybe you've decided to do some decorating, something that can, that Venus opposite Pluto, it's not just light, it's something that is important where you feel you can have more control. Say, instead of going off on vacations somewhere this year, even though we spent a lot of time at home last year, you've decided that was a pretty good idea. So you're going to take back your control, Pluto, and stay home, spend money on things that have value to you. So those are just some indicators, some ideas of how we will use the energies that are present for all of us. We all have our own personal charts. So of course, things will be more specific for you and me when we put the charts around our own charts and see what's going on. All right, the next forecast will be the full moon in Capricorn, which will be on June 24th. And it's just a regular full moon, first one in the last two. So that's fantastic. I think they call it the strawberry moon because the strawberries in this part of the world are their fruit is yummy. I need to go pick some. I usually used to do that with my dad. He's no longer here. I might have to go get some though. That would be a great thing to do, right? I'll talk about that in the next broadcast. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And reach out if you need anything from me. Comment below, and have a fantastic week. Blessings and namaste. Have to find my way out. I'm still recording. I'm not sure where I'm at. Where's my way out? Here it is. Blessings, everybody. And don't forget, if you need my assistance, this is my profession. I would love to help you out. Thank you.